kid?
No shots.
Nobody mentioned the guy with her.
Dumbass. You're so far over your head you can't even see the light.
Is that right?
Someone did. Someone was chasing the girl, photographs. It's time to start talking.
I'm not the one who's going to be talking. Живым, пожалуйста.
Да. Давай. You ready?
You want to talk now? How about now?
I'm not your enemy.
Those photos. Who paid for them?
They would kill me if I told.
What do you think I'm gonna do?
Poloznev. Nikolai Poloznev.
Where do I find him?
Try the internet. Mudok.
Swear to God, they made me do it, man.
Don't worry, Turk. You did exactly what I wanted you to.
Shit. I really don't ever want to see you again.
Well, feelings mutual.
Welcome to the Mr. Screen channel. All power is being gathered between different heroes for the threat of doomsday that will still trigger secret wars. Several cosmic entities are approaching, and with that I bring here the story involving supernatural beings with a touch of a human who does not fear even a superior being, and that is the Vigilante. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Hell Armor, Punisher's Redemption, the Curse of Silence. Hell was not made of fire, but of echoes. Echoes of screams, of voices that wouldn't shut up. Lamentations, supplications, and above all, judgments. Frank Castle walked on the incandescent ground made of bones and red dust. Each step was heavy, but his eyes remained empty. There was no fear. There was no pain, just purpose. The demons moved away. He didn't scream, and he didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't even curse his own luck. It was just himself until the flaming light cut through the dark veil of the horizon. Johnny Blaze. Ghost Rider descended like a shooting star. Its flaming skull lit up the expanse with gold and crimson tones. Its chain snaked around like hungry snakes. He approached Cass with a look that burned through the soul. Johnny Blaze. Frank Castle. Your time has come to respond, Frank, without hesitation. Answer why. Johnny, for lives, for every drop of blood, for turning revenge into a mission, for justice turned to hate. Frank, justice has died in the world of the living, Blaze. I just did what needed to be done. Johnny, then see the truth of who you are. The penance gaze was cast upon Frank like a cosmic ray. A blast of divine energy went through the Punisher, trying to make him relive all the deaths, all the gunshots, all the eyes of children who would never see their parents back. Triumph, but failing. Frank didn't scream. He didn't fall to his knees. He just crossed his arms and looked back at Johnny with cold human eyes. Frank, each of them deserved it. I don't regret anything. Johnny staggered. The flame of the look wavered. For the first time in millennia, Penance had found someone who truly carried no regret. Johnny Blaze whispered, "You are empty." Suddenly the air of hell tore like our paper. A dimensional rift opened, and from it emerged a figure in white and gold armor with a red arc reactor on his chest and emerald eyes. A variant of Tony Stark, his dark expression marked by wisdom and tragedy. Strong variant, he's ready? Johnny turned around, confused. Johnny, what are you doing here? He was condemned. Stark, and I need someone exactly like that. Frank Castle doesn't bow, doesn't give in. He is the man who faces monsters by looking straight into their eyes. And now, the biggest monster of all is about to consume the multiverse. Stark launched a capsule towards Castle. It opened in the air, revealing new war armor, black as coal, with red trim and carved mystical symbols. A fusion of technology and curse, fueled by pain and justice. Stark, Dr. Doom. Stark is destroying realities one universe at a time. What's left of the Avengers isn't enough. I need a soldier who doesn't hesitate. Frank, are you saying you want to send me back to kill a god? Stark, to kill a corrupted reflection of me. You are the bullet. That armor is the weapon. Frank looked at the armor. It pulsed with energy. The reactor in the center had a faint crimson glow that seemed to hear his thoughts. Frank, with a slight smile, if I'm going to die again, let it be doing what I know best. He put on the armor. The instant the metal clicked into his skin, Frank felt the screams of hell fall silent. For the first time, silence returned, and he went up, not like an angel, but as humanity's last armed hope. Reluctance and redemption. New York City was in ruins after the latest incursion caused by one of the versions of Doomstark. Cosmic explosions ripped apart reality, and dimensional rifts still flickered in the sky like scars that wouldn't close. And now, the new Avengers, reformulated by the Emergency Initiative, carried an unusual name, Thunderbolts. Inside the former SHIELD bunker, renovated as the Thunderbolts base, the tension was almost palpable. Sam Wilson, the current Captain America, walked back and forth in front of the holographic panel where the image of Doomstark dominated. By his side were Bucky Barnes, Yelena Belova, US Agent, Red Guardian, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and now Frank Castle. Are you telling me this guy came back from the dead using technology and magic? Bucky growled. Frank Castle adjusted his new war armor, heavy, dark, enhanced with Stark technology. His visor emitted a red glow, and his countenance seemed darker than ever. He brought me back. He said I'm a necessary piece, but I don't trust him at all, said Frank in a deep voice, looking at Sam. If necessary, I'll finish him off too. Yelena laughed ironically. You say that now, but you're wearing his armor. Don't you see the problem with that? Problems are what I solve, replied Castle, clenching his metallic fists. Sam raised his hand to calm things down. What matters now is that Doomstark is bringing together powerful entities, corrupted Celestials, remnants of Ultron, twisted versions of Kang himself. We need to unite, and fast! From the corner of the room, Valentina walked with elegant steps until she designed a new map. We detected a distortion in the Sahara Desert. One of Tony Stark's Nexus labs has been reactivated. He must be trying to create something there. Perhaps a new type of temporal weapon. Castle stepped forward. Then let's go. And if we find Doom, I'll look him in the eye before I pull the trigger. A short dinner for the Mirror and the Beast Doom. Stark surveyed the starry void. From his new fortress at the edge of the multiverse, he was absorbed, staring at a hexagonal window that reflected his face, or what was left of Tony Stark in his new cursed form. Still have questions? Said a familiar voice from behind. It was another version from Stark, an echo of his consciousness, fragmented after he died and was brought back. They fear me, and that's why I need to be ruthless, replied Doomstark without turning his face. The multiverse dissolves into chaos. I am order. You are the ruin, said his own image. If you destroy everything to save, who will be alive to thank you? He clenched his fists. Mystical and technological energy pulsed in the circuits of his golden armor. They do not understand what is coming. No, the void is awakening. Not even Galactus would dare face him alone. But I will become the balance, a god. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolts' new Avengers advanced to intercept Doom before he activated the total time distortion device. The march to the Nexus, the silent jet flew over the Sahara Desert. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Frank Castle, wearing his new war armor, carried a Stark Tech energy missile launcher on his shoulders, while Yelena sharpened her blades and Bucky kept his eyes fixed on the monitor. He already knows where coming, said Red Guardian. At this point, he wants us to arrive. Sam Wilson, standing at the laboratory's holographic projection, responded. And so we're prepared. The goal isn't to beat him now, it's to understand and discover how Doomstark managed to merge Tony's soul with arcane magic and technology. Valentina entered the communication channel. You have 25 minutes before the lab's temporal pulse resets. If he can activate that machine, he can reset any timeline, including ours. Frank muttered, then let's delete it before that. Yelena looked at Frank, eyes narrowed. You speak as if he were just a man. He's more than that. A god who resembles a human being. That's worse. The jet landed gently in the middle of the dunes. The sand vibrated beneath the hero's feet, the distorted gate. The laboratory was buried under layers of black sand, and the entrance was guarded by silver sentinels. Half machine, half enchanted creatures that possess parts of Ultron's DNA. And Dormammu's magic. Sneak approach is impossible, said Sam. We're going in with full force. Frank was the first to advance, firing blasts of blue energy while Yelena rode along the sides, destroying 2 sentries with nanocharge. Explosives, Red Guardian used his shield to deflect the spells. Bucky covered the flank, eyes alert, shooting with precision. Sam took flight, gliding above the battlefield and taking down the remaining creatures with an electromagnetic pulse straight from his vibranium backpack. But when they walked through the gate, everything changed. Time has distorted. The ground disappeared beneath his feet. Each of them was thrown into a simulated parallel reality for Doom Stark. Sam found himself in a world where Steve Rogers hunted him as a traitor. Yelena was trapped in a mental loop where Natasha had never died and blamed her for it. Frank Castle was forced to relive the death of his family again and again and again until a voice freed them simultaneously in all false realities. You think the truth is in your pain, but it is the mentira that builds power. I am the perfect lie. Doom Stark appeared, enveloped in cryptic energy and with Tony's face visible only for an instant before disappearing beneath his helmet. Confrontation and choice. The group was gathered in the central hall of the laboratory, where a temporal sphere rotated in suspension. A singularity of reality is about to collapse. Doom Stark looked at them as a father watches disobedient children. I tried to warn you. Nothing I do is out of ego. All of this is necessary. Sam replied, you are destroying worlds to save one man. Yourself! Wrong, said Doom. I am destroying worlds to prevent a future where nobody survives. Null wakes up. The entity that will devour even the void. I saw. I died. And I was reborn with the only possible solution. Frank Castle aimed the cannon straight at Doom's chest. You could have asked for help. I asked. No one listened. Now either you fight me or you become another footnote in my ascension, Yelena whispered. He really believes that. Sam flew straight at him and the fight began. Battle for reality. The fight was chaotic, a collision between technology, faith, and ideology. Doom manipulated space itself, breaking the ground on moving platforms, firing explosions that alternated between science and sorcery. Sam cut through the air with evasive maneuvers, throwing energy discs and shouting orders. Bucky and Frank fought side by side, improvising with military tactics. Yelena used everything around her, hanging onto gravitational threads that Doom left behind. But Doom was nearly invincible until a green flash interrupted the fight. Stephen Strange appeared, and behind him, a man floated in a red cape. Reed Richards. He called us, said Reed, looking at Doom. He knew this day would come. Doom froze. Reed, you are not Tony Stark, nor Victor Von Doom. It is the pain of both combined, but the pain can be redeemed. Stephen opened the time seal. The entire hall shook. Tony, if there's still something from you there, choose. Continues. What did you think of today's story? Leave your opinion here in the comment. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Until next time, bye.
You throw another moon at me, and I'm gonna lose it.
Stark.
You know me?
I do. You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
My only curse is you.
All that for a drop of blood. You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. I hope they remember you.
Stop! Spare his life, and I will give you the stone.
No tricks.
Don't.
One to go.
Where is he? Did we just lose? Why would you do that? We're in the end game now.
Whosoever be he, where they shall have the power.
Whatever, man, it's a trick.
Oh, please be my guest.
Come on. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be beautiful. You've had a tough week. We won't hold it against you if you can't get it up. You haven't seen this before, right? Right. Still don't know how you do it. Smell the silent judgment. Please, Stark, by all means.
Here we go. Okay.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Never one to shrink from an honest challenge.
Get after it.
It's physics. All right, so if I lift it, I then rule Asgard?
Yes, of course.
I will be reinstituting Prima Nocta. Be right back. Are you even pulling? Are you on my team? Just represent, pull. All right, let's go. Handle's imprinted, right? Like a security code? Whosoever is carrying Thor's fingerprints is, I think, the literal translation.
Yes, well, that's a very, very interesting theory. I have a simpler one. You're all not worthy.
Come on.
Welcome to Mr. Screen. In the Marvel multiverse, several problems have already occurred, but now with Tony Stark becoming Doom, many hitherto unanswered questions are emerging. In today's story, I will bring the moment Stark, for the first time, becomes worthy of using Thor's hammer. The rise of Iron Doom Tony Stark woke up with a choked scream, his lungs burning as if he had inhaled the weight of an entire universe. He looked around, trying to understand where he was. The landscape before him was devastating, rubble of buildings, wreckage of advanced technology, and scars of battles that had left deep scars in the land. He recognized that scenario, it was Earth, but something was terribly wrong. The silence was deafening, broken only by distant thunder. Tony staggered, still feeling the pain and exhaustion of his last memory, the snap of his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet. Shouldn't I be dead? He muttered, rubbing his face. But before he could delve deeper into the question, a figure appeared from the shadows. Thor. The meeting with the god of Thunder was different. His armor was in tatters, his eyes radiated an almost godlike fury, and he held Stormbreaker with an intensity that made the blade glow red. "Do you have the courage to show up here, Stark?" Thor roared, his voice echoing across the apocalyptic wasteland. Tony blinked, confused. "Thor, what happened here? Where are the others?" "Steve, Natasha," Thor stepped forward, thunder roaring around him. "Dead, all of them, because of you." Tony stepped back in disbelief. "My cuz, that doesn't make sense. I gave my life to save." "Everyone," Thor laughed bitterly, "save? Don't play with me, Stark. You destroyed everything. You became Doom." Those words hit Tony like a punch in the gut. He didn't know what Thor meant, but before he could ask, the Thunder God attacked, escape, and revelation, and he barely had time to react. He activated what was left of his armor, but the pieces were damaged and slow. Stormbreaker almost hit him, but Tony managed to dodge at the last second, using his propulsion to escape. He found shelter in one of the wreckages. Inside, among piles of rubble and destroyed technology, he began to piece together the puzzle. "Doom, did I become Doom? No ... that single quotes as not me." While searching the wreckage, he found a fragment of a holographic record. It was a recording. To his surprise, it was himself or someone who looked exactly like him in imposing black armor. "The multiverse cannot be saved," said the hologram. "He needs to be controlled. And I'm the only one who can do that." Tony realized the terrible truth. This world was not his. This was a universe where a version of himself had succumbed to the darkness, becoming a threat that devastated everything. Developing superior armor detrimment to correct history, Tony decided he needed new armor. He began working on the wreckage, collecting advanced technology and residual energy from ancient devices. "If I'm going to face ... well, myself," he said to himself as he welded a new part, "I need to be prepared for anything." The new armor was unlike anything he had ever created. Combining cutting-edge technology with shards of divine energy, he managed to extract from Stormbreaker during an attack by Thor. The armor became known as Superior Iron, but to his surprise, at the end of the process, something unexpected happened. The Mjolnir Momenther, who had tracked him, broke into the place where Tony worked. "No matter what you're planning, Stark, I'll finish you off before you do any more damage." Tony raised his hands. "Thor, listen to me. I'm not the Stark of this world. I'm trying to make this right." Thor didn't believe it. He charged forward, but before he could land a blow, Tony instinctively grabbed Mjolnir, which had been thrown at him. The hammer stopped in his hand. There was absolute silence. Thor stared, shocked, as Mjolnir glowed with intense blue energy. "That is impossible," Thor muttered. "Only the worthy can wield it." Tony looked at the hammer in his hand in disbelief. "I don't know what that means, but maybe you should start believing me." The unexpected alien Sarah Cuckley. Thor began to listen to Tony. Together, they analyzed what was left of the world and came up with a plan. To undo the damage, Tony would need to travel back in time and stop his counterpart from becoming Doom. But there was a problem. The energy needed to cross dimensions was colossal, and Tony would have to risk his life. Again, if that fails, Thor said, "You can destroy the multiverse." "If I don't try," replied Tony. "He is already destroyed." Ending with the superior iron armor and the help of Mjolnir, Tony managed to open a portal to the past. He returned to the pivotal moment when the alternate version of himself made the decision to become Doom. There, he faced his other self in an epic battle of intellect, strength, and power. "You don't understand. This Doom Stark. Control is the only way to save the multiverse. What about free will?" replied Tony. "Saving something by force is not saving." The battle ended with Tony destroying the source of Doom's power and convincing his counterpart that there was another way. The redemption. When Tony returned to the present, the world had changed. The Avengers were alive again, and Thor greeted him with a rare smile. "You did the impossible, Stark," said Thor, "and he has proven himself more worthy than any of us ever imagined." But Tony, tired, just smiled. "Maybe, or maybe I just got lucky. Either way, let's make sure this never happens again." Doom, the emergence of Beyonder Tony Stark watched the wreckage of the battle against his Doom counterpart, the world seemed to finally breathe a sigh of relief. Thor, by his side, rested Stormbreaker on the ground. While analyzing the devastated horizon, "We achieved," Thor said, his voice deep but relieved. "Doom has been defeated. Your world is saved." Tony, wearing his superior iron armor, analyzed the residual energy data around him. Something felt wrong. Energy levels were not decreasing as expected. On the contrary, they were increasing exponentially. Tony called, his voice thick with concern. "This isn't over yet. Something's wrong. The energy that Doom has built up hasn't disappeared, it's reorganizing itself." Before Thor could respond, an intense white light enveloped the sky, making day indistinguishable from night. The ground shook and a vortex of pure energy began to form in the air. Tony immediately activated his armor, protecting himself from the impact, while Thor raised Stormbreaker, preparing for what was to come. A Shigata do Beyonder from the vortex, a figure began to form. It was an imposing, almost ethereal presence. He did not appear to have a physical body, but his appearance was dazzling, a being of pure light, his features human but perfect, almost artificial. "I am the Beyonder," the figure declared, his voice reverberating as if spoken by 1,000 voices at once. "I was born from the destruction of Doom. His arrogance and manipulation of the forces of the multiverse gave me life." Thor stepped forward, his eyes glowing with divine energy. "If you are a creation of Doom, then you are a threat, and I will not allow you to continue." Beyonder turned his attention to Thor, his expression impassive, with a wave of his hand. He froze Thor in place, leaving the Thunder God unable to move. "Don't confuse me with Doom," Beyonder dissed. "He was limited by his humanity. I am not. I am the multiverse. I am all that is and all that will be." Tony faces Beyonder. Tony activated his thrusters, flying towards the Beyonder. He launched a series of attacks, from high-powered lasers to guided missiles, but it was all futile. The explosions dissipated before they even reached the being, as if the very space around him rejected the violence. "Why do we always have to deal with omnipotent beings?" Tony muttered to himself, recalibrating his armor. Beyonder looked at Tony, intrigued. "You are fascinating, Stark, a human who constantly defies the odds. It was your intervention that destroyed Doom and gave me life. Therefore, I offer you a gift." Before Tony could react, Beyonder reached out his hand, and a torrent of memories began to invade his mind. Tony saw visions of other universes, versions of himself that failed, that became villains, that sacrificed everything. He also saw versions of himself who never gave up, who became more than heroes. "Why are you showing me this?" Tony asked, his voice shaking. "Because I want to understand," replied Beyonder. "You are the key. Humans like you are an anomaly. You fight even though you know you can't win. Why? An unlikely plan, and he knew he couldn't defeat the Beyonder with brute force. He would need to be smart." He looked at Thor, who was still frozen, and then at the Beyonder. "If you want to understand, let me help," Tony said, his voice calm but firm. "You don't need to destroy anything to find answers." Beyonder tilted his head, as if considering. "And why would I trust you, Stark? Humans lie, you betray. You destroy, perhaps," Tony replied, "but that's what makes us different from you. We are flawed, but it's in those flaws that we find the strength to be better." Beyonder watched Tony for a moment before releasing Thor. The Thunder God fell to his knees, breathing heavily, but quickly stood up, ready to fight again. "He's playing with you, Stark," Thor growled. "This being needs to be destroyed." Tony raised a hand to calm Thor. "We cannot defeat him with force, Thor. We must find another way." The ultimate strategy. Tony worked frantically, using the little time the Beyonder gave him to build an interface capable of channeling the energy of the multiverse. He knew that in order to defeat Beyonder, he would need to use his own strength against him. Meanwhile, Thor stood guard, watching the Beyonder suspiciously. "Do you really believe this will work?" Thor asked. Tony looked at him seriously. I don't know, but it's our only chance. When the device was ready, Tony activated the interface. An intense light enveloped the surroundings, and Beyonder was taken by surprise. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice finally showing a trace of emotion, concern, showing you what it means to be human. Tony replied, "Sacrifice," and Renaissance's device began to channel the Beyonder's energy, compressing it into a single point. But the process was taxing Tony's armor. He knew he wouldn't survive. Stark, pair. Thor shouted, "This will kill him." Tony just smiled. "I've died before. Maybe I'm good at it." With one last effort, he completed the process. The Beyonder's energy was dissipated and the being was reduced to a harmless form. But Tony fell, his armor disintegrating around him. Thor ran to him, holding him in his arms. "You did it, Stark. You won." Tony, exhausted, smiled weakly. Tell that to the next omnipotent being that comes along. And so, Tony Stark saved the multiverse again, proving that even in the face of the greatest adversity, the human heart is more powerful than any force in the cosmos. Continue SO, what did you think of this story? You've come this far. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video. Bye.